Well, hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to Art with Mrs. Maher. Hey, I've missed a few videos with you. I was having a problem with my video recording, so I'm going to repeat one. I had told you that we would learn how to draw stones from medieval times, actually. We're going back in time to medieval times. Now, medieval times, a lot of stories have been written about them. King Arthur and the Round Table, Merlin. The medieval times was from about the 5th to about the 15th century. Now, each century is 100 years, and we're in the 21st century now. So, it was a long time ago. Several hundred years ago. And it was a period of time after the Roman Empire fell. Now, you'll learn about this in history as you go through your upper grades. So, at this point in time, we're just going to focus on how to draw stones to build a castle. And then we're going to work on the castle sample that I sent you. It has very light lines in it, but I'm going to guide you through it today. Let's look at what I've done so far. Let me get you up close and personal here. There we go. Okay. All right. What does that look like to you? It looks like bricks to me because that's what I've been working on. Now, we're going to pay attention to our markings. Now, if you remember from our line lessons, we moved to markings, and markings included hash lines, cross hash lines. We did circles and squiggles. We had a variety, and although those markings serve many purposes in art, one of them is to help create texture. And texture is one of our elements of art. Yeah. Okay. So I've done some here. Now, I haven't really completed this one. So I'm going to do both the gray-black brick, and I'm going to do a red-brown brick. You know, stones come in many colors. And as we work through this, let's see. I've got several different shades of gray and black. So I'm going to start with my black crayon. Now, you know, back in medieval times, they didn't have the tools and the technology that we have today. We've come a long way, baby. How did they get their stones? Well, there were people that would go to mountains and places like that with their axe. And with their axe, they would work long hours to chop through large stony mountains. And so the stones were not very even. They weren't smooth like the stones you see today in buildings. Think about that the next time you see a big building made of stones. Or you might call them bricks, but they're really stones. Now we have smooth saws that that put water on the stone while it's being cut to keep the dust down, and they can get straight lines. An axe cutter couldn't do that. So let me finish this one. I've got a little bit here, but let's do more. Let's get a little bit more. I'm going to use black. See, I'm going across and down. And then I'm going to get lighter as I move through it. Yeah. It creates a depth into the stone. Where it's darker is where the stone is cut out more, okay? Now let's see. I'm going to get a little bit of gray, a little bit of stronger gray in there. I'm going across and I'm going down. Now, here maybe I'm going to go like a cross hashtag. And I'm going to go over some of my black to fill in the spots. Now here, maybe here I'm going to do some circles. Circle, 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 circle. And then I'm going to come back and do a circle over that. And I'm going to go circle, 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 circle. Yes, look at that. Beginning to see this beautiful rock come alive. All right, now let's see. I think I should have a little bit more of like the axe cutting shadow from the depth of the axe. I'm going to do a circle over here. Maybe I'm going to go right into that mortar. Let's see. Let me see. Now I've got to get some gray in there again, don't I? Let's do this. I'm doing a mixture of circles and lines. Circle, 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 line, line, line. Look at, I'm going to leave a couple of these areas just real white, okay? All right, here we go. Circle, circle, circle. Circles right into there and right onto the mortar. Now here, I'm going to go hashtag, hashtag, cross hashtag. Yeah, you remember those terms. Now I'm just going to fill in lightly here. Just lightly. Now. Think that looks like brick? Yeah, close. Now here's my trick. I have one eraser set aside for what I call smudging. That's what I've done with these. It's a technique for blending. As you can see, my eraser, look at that. Yeah. Guess what I do? This eraser is only for smudging. My easel is wiggling. I soften it a little here and there and really do some good blending here. All right. What if I go like this? See how I've taken out some of the blackness of it. Now, the way you take care of this eraser is with a piece of scratch paper like this. You just erase the smudges that you picked up on it and work on getting it clean again. Or sometimes, if you're going to repeat it in another area, could work it right onto your paper. You can't see that very well, but I can. There we go. There we go. So, okay, now let's do a brown red brick. I have several colors here. Now, all of you, I'm sure, might have around your house a collection of broken crayons that, one of those, maybe you had it as a gift, or maybe you had it from like when you were in preschool or nursery school, and you save those broken crayons. It's sort of fun to go through them and find all of your different colors. They're still good, even if they're broken. So don't hesitate to use them. All right, I'm going to start here. I'm going to put in a brown brick right down here. Now, you can see what I did first. Let me go back to the mortar. As we outline our bricks, our stones, they have to be off-centered. Like, you can't just make a row of stones going up this way and a row of stones going up this way and think that they're going to stay together. What holds them together? Mortar. Sort of like cement. I don't know how they made this in medieval times, or if they even did, but somehow they figured it out. Oh, that would be an interesting thing to find out. So what we do here is we create, because the stones are uneven, our mortar is going to be uneven. So what do I know? Stones aren't perfectly square. So I'm going to create a mortar section for my bricks, like that, and like that. Their mortar is going to fill in some of the chips and niches and that kind of stuff that's on that stone. And so some of the mortar will be thicker in places where the stones don't fit so well. And some of it's going to be thin where the stones fit better. So think about that as you're working on your castle. Now let's see. Down here, I'm going to do a red-brown. Stones come in many colors. All right, now I'm just going to get one layer down, a hash mark back and forth, and I'm going to not do it so tight of a color because I want to blend in a lot of different colors. Can you see how I'm moving around here? I'm not keeping everything so perfect. Now, I'm going to use a color called sienna. It's got a little bit of a reddish in the brown here. And I'm just going to hit a few spots. Now I'm starting to do my cross hashtag here. And I'm going to go over it a couple of different times. We go back and forth, and then we can go on angles. Yeah, just be casual with it. Keep your wrist loose. A few circles in there. See how many layers I did just with that crayon, sienna. I think I'm going to add a little bit of it down here also. I am building texture. Yes. Okay. Now in the center of this, I'm going to go a little bit darker in the center. Means I'm pressing harder. I'm going to add. Okay. Look at that. Can you start to see where there's some depth? I can. All right. What do I have now? This is a brown color called sepia. Sepia. Where did they come up with the names for these colors? I love it. All right, let's look. It's a brownish color. I'm using my markings again. What am I doing here? Some circles. I'm going to get a little bit darker with sepia. I think that whoever has the job of naming colors has the best job in the world. Can you imagine going to work every day and somebody says, look, I've created a new shade of green. What do you think we should call it? Well, I can't think of anything better than a job like that. All right, now I'm going to start out very lightly with just a plain old boring. What is this color? Brown. Back and forth, 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 back and forth. Up and no, I'm going to go cross. Okay, I'm going to get some cross in there. Cross hashtag. Cross hashtag. Now, stones may all be from the same rock bed, but they could still be different colors. See how these are darker? They have more black in them. I didn't put any black in this one because maybe it was a different layer in that same rock bed. Now I'm going to smudge a little. All right, now I'm thinking it looks a little too light. So what am I going to do? And I go back with some brown. And I do that crosshatch. I'm going to do some circles here. Yeah, I need it a little darker. There we go. What do you think? Looks like stone? I want you to try that as we work with our castle. I want you to practice your markings to create texture. That's what this is all about. Now, the first time you really put your effort into something doesn't necessarily turn out perfect. But the more you practice with a new technique, the better you get at it. Okay? So I really want you to try. Now, you can use crayons or colored pencils. You can do this kind of texture creating with either. Now, here's our castle. What I want you to do. If you notice in this castle, I did lightly get some bricks in for you. Now, they're red bricks. Well, red stones. And you know that I was traveling one time and I was camping on the shores on a beach in Lake Superior. And as I wandered through the beach area, I noticed right at the shore's edge, there were beautiful, beautiful, beautiful red stones. with white stripes in them. I collected a few. And later I learned that those layers of the red and the white stripes had to do with volcanoes a long, long time ago. And where the ash came from and what mountain or volcano exploded, and that determined the color of the ash that settled and compressed over time to make stones. So I thought that was pretty cool. All right, so here I've added in some more brick and more stone and mortar kind of detail, but I don't expect you to do 1,000 bricks. Suggest the bricks. Just a suggestion of bricks. So here, I'm going to look at this one that's red. You're going to have to outline some more and pull it together. But here, I want this to be more of a brown and black. So what am I doing? I'm doing my markings on that stone. All right, let's get a little bit of this color in. It's got a little bit of a red in it. And then you could also use your pencil to get a little bit of gray in there. But here I'm going to get a little bit of gray with a gray crayon. There we go. Brush carefully. There we go. Now it's hard to see that detail in the brick because it is such a small brick. I can bring it up a little bit closer. There you go. See how we've got a little bit of texture in? I know it's hard to see, but you can compare it to that. This is very big. I did big stones over here. Okay. But see, if you look up close, see how I drew in more lines. Here we go. Where am I going? There we go. See down at the bottom here where I drew in more lines to collect some of those suggestions of stones for you. Now, you want to add some detail? I was pointing at the video screen again, guys. Here's where I need you want to add some more detail. How do you want your peaks to look here? I added some depth to this line here that you don't have in your picture. See this area right here? Now that's working with the beginning of a 1-point perspective. So if you're a little bit on the gutsy side, I'm going to mark these real dark for you. I put in a line here instead of leaving it flat. I brought it up. Now I needed to erase a little bit here, but I didn't get it quite erased. I'm going to take care of that with some more stone. That'll be one place where I might have a stone there. So, because we're on the ground looking at our castle, this angle goes up to the main entrance, and this angle comes slightly down. If you can see this is straight, and this angles down a little bit. So right up here to hide this construction line, I might put in one of my stones. I'm just going to suggest it. And if I did that all up and down with the same kind of idea that I'm doing here, just to suggest. All right. As you work through your castle, some things I want you to keep in mind. Now, initially in medieval times, the castles were built with wood, and castles were always built up high, um, on a hilltop or an elevated level. Why would they do that? Because they can see who's coming better. And then castles were built out of wood, and they figured out pretty early on that that was not a good idea because enemies that wanted to attack could light their arrows on fire. And with a bow and arrow, they could burn down a castle pretty quickly. Stone became the better option. So, the other thing I know about medieval castles is sort of disgusting. There was not, we didn't have toilets back then. We didn't even have outhouses like they did in Little House on the Prairie or some of those older movies in the early days of our country being discovered and developed. The toilet was in a wardrobe. Now, do you know what a wardrobe is? Well, for us in modern days, we call it our closet and we store our clothes in there. You know, we don't keep that in the bathroom, do we? No. But they called it a privy or a latrine. They didn't call it a toilet back then. And it shared the same space as the place where these medieval people kept their clothes. But it was called a garderobe's room. A garderobe's room. And inside the garderobe room was a hole in the floor. Okay. Polite language, a toilet hole. And when you had to go to the bathroom, you squatted down over the hole and you did your business. Now, that hole was a chute, like a laundry chute, or, if you could imagine a slide that was completely covered. Like how you go to the playground and some of the slides are like tubes that you go down through. Well, that's sort of like this hole and the chute that went down. And all of your business just slid down this chute into the moat. Yeah, disgusting. So don't ever fall into a moat. And you think about it, how many germs and diseases that would be. We've come a long way, haven't we? Yeah. Now we just have sewer systems. And our waste goes to water treatment plants. And they clean everything up so beautifully for us. Thank goodness. All right, guys. I want you to work on your castle. I hope you have fun. I'll see you again next week. Be good. Do your homework. Catch you later, guys. Bye-bye.